Hi, I wanted to talk to you guys about I have a story about this one girl that she was a bully in school. Um and I just wanted to talk to you guys about it. Her name was Renee Lane, and she was in my grade, and basically the relationship started off good. She came over a couple times to my house, and I went out one time trick or treating with her. I don't remember what I was. I don't remember exactly what I was supposed to be that year. To be quite truthful, I don't remember. We hung out, and her sister um, took us out. She was a little bit older than we were. She was about 15 or 16 at the time, and we were about 12. Um, and they ordered pizza, and we ate pizza, and it was really neat. Um, and then later, she there was this one time, there was about spring, and she said, "Well, it's hot today, so uh, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, we have a sprinkler at my house. Do you want to come over to my house and we can run through the sprinkler?" And she said, "Well, that sounds really fun." So we had an outfit, and she said, "Well, can I borrow the outfit?" And my grandma said, "Sure, as long as after you're done using it, bring it immediately to me." She wanted to keep it, and so she put it on in the bathroom, and we were done with the sprinkler, and she changed back out into her outfit. Well, my grandma, the next day, I noticed that, I guess I don't know, you'd call it, I don't think you'd call her my friend, but the next day I seen, because my grandma has this one particular watch that she wore. And so I said, "Well, I seen this girl, Renee today. She had the same kind of watch that you wear." And my grandma, she said, "Well, I've been looking all over for this watch since yesterday, and I'm trying to find it." Well, okay, from when I was in fifth grade, or when I was in first grade until after I graduated, my grandma volunteered at the elementary school that I went to, and she helped kids read the book, and she helped kids with math and that kind of thing. And the teacher loved her because the teachers rarely have one-on-one with students. So they really liked her. She showed up like she regularly would, and she found this girl, and she said, "Well, how did you get that watch?" And she said, "Well, my aunt gave it to me." She said, "Well, why did you all of a sudden start wearing it now?" And she said, "Well, I just feel like it." And my grandma ripped it off of her wrist and and ran off with it. And this girl, she said, "Well, you just stole my watch." And she showed the teacher, and she said, "Well, this is my watch. That the middle had a faded spot." So she said, "Well, see the faded spot? This is my watch." And the teacher believed her. And so this girl from school stole my grandma's watch, and then my grandma got it back, And I was kind of surprised at the whole mess, but this girl would just act like my friend. She would get information from me, like something that was embarrassing that I didn't tell many people. Like, I didn't tell many people that I wet the bed. She would tell people that I wet the bed. And I would say, "No, I don't wet the bed." And she said, "Oh, well, I know you wet the bed." And I can't really think of any other things that are embarrassing, but she just learned embarrassing things about me, and that was it. And she said, "Well, I'm sorry," and she would act like she was friends with me again, and then she would act like she wasn't friends with me, and eventually I was just so upset. I didn't act like I was her friend anymore. Obviously, so um, on the school bus, she would sit around me, like in the front seat or the back seat behind me, and she would just jab me, or she would just bug me, and I was just so upset, but I couldn't move because the school bus was crowded, and so I just had to tolerate this person picking on me. Well, I came home every day crying because this person was bothering me, just sobbing, and my my grandma was like, "Well, I don't know what to do." Just basically, that's all she said. And my cousin, who was living with us at the time, he said, "Well, eventually," he predicted that eventually I was gonna get so mad at her, I was gonna try to kick her ass. And eventually, one day, she wasn't even saying anything. That's how much she pissed me off. She would talk to her friend beside her, and she looked over at me, and she smirked at me, and then she would continue talking, and then she kind of looked at me again and kind of smiled at me, and I just went for it. I started punching her and stuff, and she started clawing at me. You know how girls fight, and I just let loose, even though I wasn't. Bus driver got our names down, and then I went to class knowing that I was in trouble, and then the principal called my grandparents, and my granddad showed up, and my granddad, I mean, I told you how honoring he is. Sometimes he does the right thing, and he told my principal, he said, "Well, if you didn't do anything before, then if you did something before, this wouldn't have happened." And he said, "Well, all I can do is suspend people or whatever." I don't know what he said, but my granddad argued with him for a bit, and he said, "Well, this was happening for months and months, and she finally tried to defend herself, and you're suspending her." I was suspended for 3 days. It was like I was suspended for like Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I had off, and then the last day was Monday, so I showed up on Tuesday, and my teacher lied for me and said that I had something to do with my family or something, because they said, well, I heard, or what the teacher said, but I appreciate that she was willing to lie for me. That was really nice of her, and so that was basically, that I don't think my grandma ever liked her because she was a bad influence, and I don't know, but her mom was a bartender, and she said she wanted to be a bartender, so I knew that she wasn't going to make something of herself. I'm not saying that bartenders isn't something, it's just her mom was like a sleazy, trashy kind of person, and so I knew that she was going to go down that path. And she basically was like, "Oh, I'm going to marry a rich husband," and that kind of thing. So